Strangers 2, Pray at Night, directed by Johannes Roberts. Fucking terrible. Just gonna say it. Just fucking terrible. I love The First Strangers. I was excited for this sequel. The First Strangers was absolutely great. 3 killers going after one couple in a remote cabin. Boom! Add some tension, add some great stuff, add, some good musical cues and stuff like that, but keep the music light and don't use it like in certain parts of the movie, like when a best friend meets a bad end after wandering down a hallway. That was a great moment. But the least scary part in The First Strangers, in 2008, by the way, in this one, 2000 and late, was scarier than anything in the sequel. The First Strangers was tremendous. This was not. And by the way, spoilers, in case you accidentally clicked on this and did not see the spoilers in the title or read it in the description. The reason this was so bad is because you took this focus. It's taking place mainly at a trailer park. It's supposed to be this one of like having 40 plus units, and yet you only see about 6, maybe 7 places. Which granted, you don't need a ton of stuff with it, but this just wasn't very good. Yeah, Christina Hendricks in it. She dies about 30 minutes into it. She plays the mother. Martin Henderson plays the father. He was in the ring. Bailey Madison, who was Sally in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, the little girl, she was okay. The actor that played Luke, the older brother, he was fine. None of the actors that played the killers in the first one, reprised their roles for this. It was different people. There's nothing wrong with that, because I wouldn't have actually known if I hadn't looked it up, because they looked like it, but again, they're all wearing masks, so you could say that about anything. You could say that about anybody. You could put almost anybody in that, as long as they sort of like are near the same height, or if they have the same type of hair color, they don't even have to look nearly the same. But the thing about this is, okay, you got a family, fractured family. Kinsey, played by Bailey Madison, is going to be going to boarding school. Cindy thinks it's a great idea to uproot the family for one last vacation, and go to this remote trailer park that doesn't even probably wouldn't even look inviting in the daylight, but is like this weird remote area that's like this just desolate looking place where it's like, how in the world is this a vacation spot? How in the world would anybody be here? And of course, Dollface, Pinup Girl, and Man in the Mask, the killers, have already besieged this place. You see in the opening sequence, but you don't see people die. Like, you see, it's implied that, like, 2 older people died. Well, it turns out that, it's the aunt and the uncle. Well, aunt by marriage, but, it's Cindy's uncle. And of course, everybody seems to be so deserted when they get there. Maybe a red flag or a siren should have gone off. Maybe we should fucking go back home or something. Nah, I can't do that. I got a very Hills Have Eyes remake vibe from this, which I actually enjoyed more than the original. I actually hated the original Hills Have Eyes. This was bad. Again, Christina Hendricks meets an end like 25, 30 minutes in. There's no emotional drama with any of the characters. You don't get any attachment to them. And I'm not saying you got a ton of attachment to Liv Tyler and her husband, Liv Tyler and the actor who played her husband, I believe Scott Speedman, in the first one. But you got a little bit of like empathy for them, maybe a little bit. In this one, you don't. It's like everybody, despite the fact it's still a very centralized cast, about 10 people, and that's including the killers, by the way. Nothing to it. There's nothing to it. A lot of the scares were given away in the trailer, which didn't help. But it wasn't well paced. When people died, you didn't care. You had so many characters, again, doing stupid things to advance the plot, but it wasn't like, okay, hey, I'm scared, I'm going to run away instead of do this. If I had people that killed my parents, guess what? The first thing I'd be doing is I'd be looking for blood. I'd find a weapon and just want to club them. And, I mean, yeah, everybody says that in that situation, but it's just, they do so many things where it's like, okay, the older brother has a gun and doesn't shoot Dollface when he has a chance. But then 2 scenes later, I'd say about 3 scenes later, something like that. A little while later, is suddenly stabbing Pinup Girl when he finally gets a chance. And then he gets stabbed in the back. And judging by the way he was barely able to move, it seemed like he probably should have died. somehow didn't. Oh yeah, by the way, he didn't die. And I got a very Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe from the end. Like in the back of a pickup truck and stuff like that, where Kinsey hits a bat into Man in the Mask's face, stuff like that. In fact, it reminded me kind of the end of Orphan when Vera Farmiga kicked Esther's character in the head, cracking her neck. Orphan was a fun movie, by the way. I really enjoyed that one, even if it was simple. And this was a very simple movie. And I hated the director's, big foray into horror or whatever. Like one of the only movies I'd ever seen that he did. And it was Storage 24. I fucking hated Storage 24. This was not good. I did not enjoy The Strangers Prey at Night. Like, nothing really good to root for. Everybody that died, you're just like, okay, cool, whatever. There's just nothing good about it. And like, the only way they can do another one of these, if this one somehow manages to wring out enough money, is they gotta do a prequel because the killers all die. So, okay, that's the end of that. So maybe they'll do a prequel about, the Strangers 3 origins and stuff like that. How they became killers. Where they, started up. I don't really care. And yes, this turned into a bit of a scathing rant. If you guys enjoyed this movie, by the way, I just want to say, got nothing against you guys. That's great. I hope that there are people out there that enjoyed this. I just didn't. I fucking hate it. I would actually go so far as to say I hate it. So I'm actually gonna give it an F. And I don't give Fs out very often. And I also did a review of Winchester back when it first came out. And I actually think I'm going to have to downgrade that. I'm going to start grading stuff instead of star rating it. This was not very good. It just wasn't. Like Strangers Prey at Night, no tension, no good build. I mean, the trailer park kind of had a bit of atmosphere to it, but it just, nothing. You're like watching and you're like, okay, it was really shit. It was honest God shit. I hate it. So anyway, that's what I gotta say. Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I said? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Twitter link in the description. Spend real honesty with Jar Mifflin. I'm Jar Mifflin, and I will see you soon.